So I just want to give you a few things to think about if you are considering being self-employed. I think a lot of people like the idea of just being your own boss, being able to move how you want to move, do the things that you want to do. But I do think that there are a few things that should be considered when trying to be self-employed. I know it feels good, it seems good and stuff or whatever, and it is good. But some of the things that you have to take into account is that first off, you have to be self-motivated, you have to be self-driven, because being your own boss, it requires you just having to, just boss up, just a simple thing. You have to be able to be willing to do what nobody else wants to do. And so when you think about a lot of, say for barbers, for instance, I'm a barber. And one of the things with barbers, so many people look at it as just being this big glamorous field and stuff where you can just make your own choices and decisions or whatnot. And so a lot of people are like, hey man, barbers can come in, make their own schedule, they can do whatever, and that's true. But at the same time, if you are not in the shop cutting, you are not making money. And so you don't have the sick time, you can't call in, you don't have the PTO. Like nobody's gonna, if you get sick, say, man, here's the money for the haircut, even though you didn't come in and perform the duties or whatnot. So you have to pretty much like take that in consideration, that you don't have the leisure of, not working and still getting paid. So, another thing that, like I said, you have to be self-driven, you have to be motivated. I've seen a lot of barbers just not want to come in, and you just don't make money, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not there. And so if you are honest with yourself, there's a lot of people who are not good at, just being able to operate when they want to operate, because sometimes you'll never operate. And I've seen so many people fail in the barber industry because of that. And, just with, not even just in the barber industry, but whatever it is that you're doing, if you know that you can't be consistent, you can't be on time, you can't, just do what you have to do without being told, I don't think this industry is for you. You know what I'm saying? Not even just being a barber, but just being self-employed, because word of mouth travels quick. Like you can be a hell of a barber, but if, you are never there, you are always not making an effort to serve people in the way that you should serve people, the word travels fast. Just as well as if you are doing a good job, word travels just as fast and probably even faster, because everybody's always looking for a good person, whatever field, not just being a barber, but just whatever field that you in, somebody's always looking for it. So if you think of an electrician, somebody's always looking for a good electrician, somebody's always looking for a good plumber, somebody's always looking for a good contractor. And so you just have to be dependable. Like you have to be the type of person who is self-motivated, that people don't have to tell you to get out and, show up to work or whatnot, And so I'm not saying that, one way or another is better, but, you have to be honest with yourself. Do I need somebody to be behind me telling me, hey, you need to come in, you need to clock in, you need to be here on time, this and that? Or, are you that type of person who's just self-motivated? And just be honest with yourself, because you don't want to waste time trying to be self-employed and then end up that you are not making money because you ain't showing up. And so you have to consider that. Another thing that you have to consider too, as well, is like when it comes to taxes, you have to be good with your money, because, taxes, a lot of times you can pay them quarterly, you can pay them at the end of the year or whatnot, and so you have to be good with your money. You have to know that, I have to put things to the side because taxes are coming, because you have to pay taxes different than if you had an employer or whatnot, so your stuff comes a lot of times at the end of the year, and sometimes it can be heavy depending on what you made. And yeah, I think that's just something that you have to realize that, hey, that's part of it. And then also even your customer service, when you are doing customer service, I think it goes back to what I was saying about, just showing up, doing the job that you're supposed to do. I think, it just kind of falls back on you if things don't get right, because they can't say, hey man, I got a problem with the company, I got a problem. The problem is with you. You are the company, so you have to put in the work and do the job that you have to do or whatnot. And so, being self-employed, like, you have to be able to work through a lot of different situations. And so you may have clients, customers, whatever, that, you just like your energy and stuff or whatnot is solid with theirs or whatnot, and y'all just like each other and stuff, right? But then you also have people that, you just don't jig with, you don't gel with as well. And you have to still be able to give them the same type of service that you would give somebody who, is your best friend or whatnot. So some of those things you really have to consider, and so another thing that you have to consider is being self-employed is that you are responsible for your own equipment. You are responsible to be able to do everything, all the upgrades of the shop or the place or whatever. Like, you have to be the person that everything falls back on, because it's your business. And if you don't upkeep it well, if you don't manage it well, if you don't do all these things that you need to do, then if your business is not successful, it all falls back on you. So you have to be the one to take responsibility for all of that. And so yeah, I think it's probably a bunch of other stuff that I could cover, but that's just some of the stuff that's like right on my head right now. And so, or right on my mind right now. It's 2026. You gotta watch what you say and how you say it. But anyway, yeah, so that's just some of the stuff that's on my mind right now. And so, yeah, if it's anything you feel like I didn't missed out on, or things that you want to, questions you want to ask or whatever, feel free to ask. But yeah, so anyway, I'm Damien, and until the next video, I'm out. Peace.